Have you ever had the best of intentions, but everything ended up going horribly wrong? Well, then you might have been a lead member of Project Gestalt. Have you ever had the best of intentions and everything ended up going horribly wrong, but it was also the future? Then you might have been the guy that came up with YoRHa. Similarly to my video explaining the astounding success of Project Gestalt, in this video I aim to answer what happened regarding YoRHa and why it happened. This video is a pseudo-sequel to my last NieR Lore video that covered every event that happened in between the credits of NieR Replicant to the opening level of NieR Automata. So, in the interest of not wasting time, I won't be going into anything that I already covered in that one. This video will be strictly about the events leading up to the founding of YoRHa, as well as events that would influence the direction it took in the main game. Same disclaimer as always, all this stuff takes place in non-game multimedia, so I'll try to match what I'm saying to the gameplay clips as best I can, but it won't be perfect. Okay, spoilers for NieR Automata officially start now. We good? Alright, let's get into this. First, let's establish real quick what YoRHa is. YoRHa is an elite force of androids, created to battle the machine lifeforms. Simple, you played the game, you know that. YoRHa units are kinda like the best of the best the android army has to offer. They're elite models, with their internal black box being a defining feature. I'm gonna quick cover 2 trivia points about YoRHa's name you can bring up to your friends who don't know what a NieR is to sound cool. The first is, while that it may seem like an arbitrary capitalization at first, Yoko Taro claims that there's a reason for the R and H's capitalization. I should also mention that the reason has never actually been confirmed, and probably never will be, so if anyone offers to sell you a sketchy brown envelope saying the secrets to YoRHa's capitalization scheme is inside, best back out of that transaction, chief. The second point is that YoRHa's name doesn't have any specific meaning. What do I mean by that? Well, get your backpacks on, because we're about to go to Japanese 101. In a Dengeki Online interview, Yoko Taro revealed that YoRHa can be written in Japanese characters, kanji, as YoRHa. To get into something maybe like 5 people actually care about, these are ateji, or Japanese characters chosen to phonetically represent a word rather than represent it through meaning. A good example of this is sushi, whose individual characters mean long life and office. Yeah, it doesn't exactly make you think of the fish rice. The yoru in YoRHa has a lot of meanings, but its primary meaning is to come close, and ha means leaf. To translate it roughly, it'd be like passing leaf or something. This also doesn't have any particular meaning according to the T-Man, but I love useless knowledge like this. In NieR Automata, it kinda seems like YoRHa is the main bulk of the androids' forces that have been fighting the aliens and the machines ever since they showed up in 5012. In reality, YoRHa is a drop in the bucket in the long history of the NieR series. NieR Automata begins in the year 11945, but YoRHa was only founded in 11932. So, what gives? How did YoRHa come about, and why'd they even bother forming it if they've been fighting for so long anyways? Well, to answer this question, we have to go back to the year 11810, when the android orbital base Kaguya is destroyed by an explosion. The name Kaguya likely comes from the Japanese folktale, The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter. This is one of Japan's oldest surviving tales, and it features a princess named Kaguya, a princess from the moon who was raised by a bamboo cutter and his wife until she returned to her homeland as an adult. Seen in the 2013 adaptation by Studio Ghibli titled The Tale of Princess Kaguya. Good movie, go watch. The android-based Kaguya would be succeeded by a new orbital research station named Labo 5 years later. It's here we're introduced to the central figure of our story, Zinnia, a researcher working on transforming machine cores into black box technology that would be incorporated into YoRHa androids in the future. Given that Labo served as a place to continue the research that was done in Kaguya, we can reasonably assume that the explosion that destroyed the base was caused by a malfunction in these highly volatile black boxes. But nothing's expressly confirmed, so who knows. Zinnia would succeed in creating black boxes around the year 11928, a full 113 years after Labo began operation. Zinnia would then create 2 prototype androids, number 2 and number 9. Yeah, from those 2 numbers alone, you can probably see where this is going. These were the prototype androids that 2B and 9S would later be based on. Now, you might have noticed a certain naming pattern among the androids. Why are some androids named Zinnia and Anemone, while others are named number 9, 60, and 2B? We can boil it down simply as non-YoRHa androids all have unique names, while YoRHa ones don't. But what gives? Why don't YoRHa androids have their own names? Did they not want them? Did they run out? The answer has to do with the controversial technology inside every YoRHa android, their machine core, and the black boxes derived from it. Because they had machine technology at their core, Zinnia believed that the other androids wouldn't accept them, so he adopted a policy by only referring to the YoRHa androids by their model number. We don't have an over-under on what the exact percentage of androids affiliated with YoRHa is, but you can assume that every android you encounter in the game with a unique name is non-YoRHa, and the ones known by their model number are part of YoRHa. Now you see, Zinnia was an ideas man. The androids weren't exactly, winning the war against the machines, so along with the black box system, Zinnia was looking for ways to boost the androids' odds of success. What he came up with was as follows. Android production originally slowed down significantly after humanity's extinction in 4198. Despite ramping up production again to fight the aliens to preserve what was left of humanity, android morale was taking constant chip damage knowing that humans no longer existed. When the aliens initially invaded in 5012, the androids constructed a base on the moon to house the old world data for safekeeping, just in the event of a worst case scenario. Zinnia figured he'd fabricate a lie that humans actually survived, fled to the moon, and created the Council of Humanity. He'd then use an elite force of androids to disseminate this message across all of the Army of Humanity's forces. Having this air quotes god in the sky to fight for was sure to increase android morale across the board. The air quotes humans would wait for the androids to claim complete victory, upon which they would return to the Earth and once again bless it with their presence. After thinking up this plan, Zinnia probably sat back in his chair and said to himself, "That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Writing off the plan is too risky and seeing extreme consequences should anyone call his shit out." Little did he know, Number 9 was listening in, who probably said to himself, "That's the smartest shit I've ever heard," and resolved to put the plan into motion. Number 9 assassinated Zinnia, started orchestrating the plot, and added a little 1-2 punch as a spicy cap-off to the whole thing. Number 9 intentionally created a backdoor that would allow machines access to the bunker, giving them the ability to effortlessly wipe out YoRHa after a certain amount of time. Okay, Zinnia's plan? I can understand, but what was the point of this step? Maybe Number 9 was eating too many of the weird space mushrooms growing in YoRHa's storage room. There actually was a point to this. This step made the plan perfect. You see, if the machines completely wiped out YoRHa, all evidence of humanity on the moon being a lie would be erased. The androids would be convinced of humanity's survival until the end of time, making YoRHa a small price to pay in the long run. Getting wind of the plan, and probably seeing Zinnia lying in the corner of an office somewhere, Number 2 executed Number 9, an act that would start a long cycle that would continue with 2B constantly executing 9S. Zinnia's plan had spiraled far out of his hands by this point. In 11937, the first YoRHa units were constructed, just 2 months after Number 9 took Zinnia out. In 3 more years, the bunker would finish construction as well. The bunker was the key. It was here the backdoor was placed that would allow the machines to do their thing. Despite every android associated with the project being long gone, once the wheels were put into motion, they couldn't be stopped. YoRHa androids were also treated as pretty disposable, usually deployed for the purpose of gathering combat data rather than any tangible gain in the war against the machines. This would be a factor that would lead A2 to defect after the Pearl Harbor descent mission in 11941.
裏切ったの司令部だろ
The rate YoRHa androids were destroyed at gave Command the data they needed to create new and powerful hit squad killers, a nice side effect to how the whole thing was set up. Project Gestalt failed due to a number of design flaws and unforeseen snags, but the thing about YoRHa is that it had no design flaws. YoRHa worked exactly as intended. It was just designed to fail. The androids all being infected with the logic virus and YoRHa collapsing at the beginning of Route C was everything working as intended. The only factors that weren't accounted for were A2's defection and 2B and 9S's survival. Details following the ending of NieR Automata are pretty sparse, so we only have bits and pieces about what happened afterwards. Did the androids ever find out that YoRHa fabricated humanity's survival? We'll probably never know. We do know that while YoRHa may have fallen, the Army of Humanity continued on. The timeline in the strategy guide lists that they signed an armistice with the Machine Lifeform Peace faction in 11946. Anyways, that's all for today. This was a bit of a shorter video, but I mean, we didn't cover the time frame of thousands of years this time. Hope you liked this look at the foundations of YoRHa. I haven't decided what I'll cover next, but I have a few ideas floating around the tank. Anyways, till next time.